Hey, I'm Matt Manny. Thanks so much for joining me for today's devotional. The thought for today is this: the fear of missing out. Steve Tyler, the front man for Aerosmith, he belted out those words, and I don't want to miss a thing. Have you ever found yourself that there are things in life you just had a fear of missing out, or fear of being left out, or fear of a better offer? And so we find ourselves, we're constantly looking for the next best thing to jump into. Statistics say, according to CBS News in a 2021 article, that about 4 in 10 of us are fearful of missing out. Now, that's numbers amongst 18 to 34-year-olds, but for the age range of 35 to 54, that number drops a little bit as folks aren't as fearful of missing out on things, and some statisticians believe it's because people are busy with doing life and having kids and kind of pursuing their career a little bit. What's amazing, though, is as soon as folks hit age 55 plus, that number shoots back up again, just like the 18 to 34-year-old range, where they find that folks who are in their later years, maybe they're in their empty nest stage of life, where they're fearful of missing out, fearful of regrets, fearful of things that could be. We find ourselves constantly wondering, well, when am I going to get the invitation to the next event, or well, what's going on that everybody else is kind of talking about after the weekend, and we fear that we're not in on what's going on and what's happening. We have this fear of being left out. Neil Postman, he wrote a book years ago called Amusing Ourselves to Death. And for Postman, he had proposed this concept, and the question was this: are we going to be afraid of having government overwhelm us and overtake us and have a big brother that they're spying on us constantly? Or is it going to be the opposite concept of that there's going to be so much information that really as a society we're going to cease to care about things? What will be the end of ourselves? And so what he proposes is this: that we should be more fearful not of the government trying to take over things, but more fearful of apathy amongst people in society, that we'll have access to so much information and we'll have access to so much misinformation that we'll cease to really care about life. Just a couple months back or so, The Matrix came out with their 4th installment. And as they were having interviews and Keanu Reeves was talking to different pop culture outlets and different TV shows, he shared this story with an interviewer. They asked him about The Matrix coming out. He said that he was talking to a friend who was a director. He was having dinner with this guy and his kids. He had 3 daughters who were teenagers, and the director friend of his asked them to go ahead and explain to the girls what The Matrix was all about. And so he explained about the main character, who was living in this fake world, and how he came out of the fake world to realize what was real. And the girls' response was kind of underwhelming. So what was kind of their response. And so he asked this very, very probing question and said, well, don't you care to know what's real? And they said, no, why should we? We find in our society that there is a sense of, if I can go ahead and have fun and experience just enjoyment, it doesn't matter if it's real or not, as long as how it makes me feel and how it impacts my life, how it makes me feel that I'm included or that I'm not left out. And Paul shed some light on this. Listen to these words from Ephesians chapter 2, verses 3 through 5 from the Message. Listen to what Paul says about fear of missing out. You let the world, which doesn't know the first thing about living, tell you how to live. You filled your lungs with polluted unbelief and then exhaled disobedience. We all did it. All of us doing what we felt like doing when we felt like doing it. All of us are in the same boat. It's a wonder God didn't lose his temper and do away with the whole lot of us. Instead, immense in mercy and with an incredible love, he embraced us. He took our sin-dead lives and made us alive in Christ. So maybe you find yourself struggling. You see people who are living their best life now, and you're trying to do what's right, and you're fearful. Maybe, are you missing out on something? The encouragement today is this: when we have our eyes fixed on God and we're growing our faith deep, growing our roots down deep into Jesus Christ, Colossians 2:7 talks about, that we increase in our knowledge of him and we increase in our faith, that we have nothing to fear of missing out when we are focused purpose on God. Thanks so much for watching the devotional today. I hope you are encouraged. If you're interested in getting the devotional in book form, you can go ahead and pick up Faith for the Impossible. You can find the link in the comments section, and you can go ahead and get your copy of this today to read more devotional thoughts just like this. There is a prescribed Bible reading for today's devotional thought, as well as a further follow-up questions for you to go ahead and look at to go ahead and grow and deepen your faith. Thanks so much for watching.